Okay, so we're talking about combos and how they work. So one of the things about hitting something, or hitting in a combo, you kind of always want to hit the something you're hitting, not in motion unless the motion is moving towards you, and then you want to hit that in between motion, like a juggler who's juggling, and as that ball goes up, she could see when it's coming back down. That's where it stops. That's where your hit really wants to come in to get some more maximum power out of your hit, and where range and the idea of the footwork really becomes important. So basically when you hit something, you want it to be more grounded, right? You don't want it in motion. You don't want to follow it back unless you can follow to where it stops, and then you stop and you hit with it, you know, and whatnot with that. Okay, so as far as using your combos and stuff, it's the same motion. If I'm going to be coming out here, I'm going to hit here, right? Like this is the first hit. As this comes along, I sink, and I throw the next hit. It's coming to the same amount of length. So if I'm hitting to the chest or the head or the stomach, all right, 1, 2, that would be to the stomach here, right? And you notice I'm not bending down to hit the stomach. I'm just hitting and here. So I'm hitting at a solid motion. If the person's moving, I'm going to reposition and hit and come across with another hit, trying to catch them in between that. So that's where speed and power really start to come in, because the quicker you move and the more powerful you move, the more you can catch that person or individual in a frozen state, even if it's for nanoseconds, right? You can see where your strike zone is going to be, and that's why I'm not going around arms and whatnot. I'm going right to the target. That's combat. All right, so when you bring the legs in, these guys really work with weapons, are extremely larger individuals that you're going to be hitting from, but again, there's a difference in the length. So if I'm throwing my punch and I throw a kick, right, you could see that these are moving different lengths, so you have to adjust your footwork to make that work, right? So if I'm standing here and I go 1, 2, my kick, can you see my feet okay, Vic? My kick, front kick, can't be going this way, which is how people do when they fall. You want to have the stability of the leg work to actually come through with it. So if I go 1, 2, this foot comes down, this leg comes back, now the person's still at the same length. This is basic now. Of course, there's some variables in real life, moving and motion, but to get the idea that I'm coming back on my foundation leg and coming up now with my kick. So if I'm going 1, 2, it's not kick. And that's the difference with moving in a ring or you know, all this other stuff that's coming in movies. In real life, people aren't running away from you. Okay? If they're really fighting you, and it is a matter of life and death, the guy wants to murder you, he has or she has intent on coming at you and hurting you. They're not going backwards. They're coming at you. Think about it. If somebody has a knife, they're not going to be going back with the knife. They're coming at you. If somebody's much larger, stronger than you, they're coming at you. They're not running from you. They're not retreating because you look dangerous or because your hands are up or whatever it is. They're coming freaking at you. In the fights that I've dealt with on the street or with violence, people never retreated unless for some reason, all right, there was a couple of fights that I was in that the person retreated, and I learned something from that, but that's only because I did so much damage to the other people, they got a little bit worried. All right, so that does happen, very rare, because of that situation. You're going through things. A person has their arms up, you're not looking at, you're going through it, you're hitting to the arms, you're kicking to the legs, to the knees, to the elbows. You're not looking to go around, you're looking to smash. Hulk smash! Right? You're looking to smash. Right? Cut through things. That's where all the foundation stuff comes in. So, getting back to the basics again. If I'm coming up here, when we talked about getting this knee up, if I'm going 1, 2, my foot's got to come down. This follows out. I get the knee up, and then I'm going to throw the kick. If there's a weapon here, it's the same thing. If the person's moving a weapon around or coming out in different ways, this knee aims to the weapon, aims to where it's going. So now if I decide to mix it up, instead of opening with my hands, I've got to open my legs because there's a weapon here. right? I'm going to come up from here, I see the weapon, I'm going to come back, plant, my knee points to the weapon, moves, and then when I come in with my 1-2. Okay? All right, so in the next series of videos, I'm going to bring Victor out here, one of my instructors, just to give you a demo. Now remember, in demos, they're demos. I'm showing you things in a still format so that you could see what it is. In real life, people are moving towards you, people are coming at you, right? I had a guy come at me one time with a knife I never saw before. And he came at me, right? He was bigger, everybody's bigger. He's coming at me and he just pulled this knife out at me and he's just coming at me this way. Right? I never saw that before. And so he was moving at me, he's going, and he's coming at me, and the knife was freaking long, and he was big. He wasn't afraid of me. Maybe he was, but he was attacking with that fear. Right? And he was coming, you could hear it moving. These guys bailed me out of that. Right? I was much younger then, and I have to admit there was some luck, I guess, that went with that. I remember throwing the kick, and I threw that kick, and I just didn't time anything. I just threw it, turned, and hit him. And he went down. And luckily, the blade wasn't cutting across. Now, of course, I know a lot more from those experiences. But I'd never seen anything like that. Never seen anybody coming out that way with the big guy with the arms doing what they're doing. Or, had a guy just kind of this way here, just coming out like a freaking maniac. Then you have every now and then you get a guy who's standing here this way. This is easy. This is easy to stop, depending on your skill set. All right, so we'll talk about weapons with that. Depending on who's holding the weapon, how violent the person is. If you're dealing with a skilled fighter with weapons, then every move you make, they've got to have a defense against. That's why it's good to understand you attack. If somebody stands in front of you, you see the picture of them, and you attack. So this is the kind of stuff in the next video we'll be working with, but I want to make a point. This is in practice to help you design yourself. But when you start practicing this, get some foam, something foamy, right? And have your friend, come at you, zoom, 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 and see how you move. You can put some gear on, depending on how serious you are. They have shock knives now, where you can start to deal with that. I wouldn't suggest to do that unless the person who's holding the knife is really guarded. Right? There's different things you could do, but just to get an idea of how you would handle situations like this here, somebody coming at you. That's what I mean. They're not retreating. So again, the next series that we're going to show a little bit is from a standing position, showing how to execute technique. It's up to you to take that and to bring it into more real life situations, because I can't be standing there in front of you and showing you that. Not that any of my students really want to do that with me anyway, because they get hurt. All right, so there's a whole different ball game when you're doing it for real life. Okay, and there's different ways that I teach to help you get there. Things like form fighting, advanced pushing hands, grappling, all that stuff helps you get there, to get the whole pie. But just remember, when you guys are watching, Vic's gonna come out here and stationary stand so I can demonstrate it. In real life, you gotta bring it into action and movement. Okay? All right, guys, thanks for watching.